Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Come to the FAU podcast. This will be a commentary slash podcast that I'll put out probably every other week with whatever FAU news comes out in the coming weeks. If there's anything major, I'll put out a podcast within the couple of days that that major news breaks. But I hope to have a routine schedule of putting out a podcast every other week with whatever news comes out. So I'm going to start with the FAU players getting drafted. We had Harrison Bryant go in the fourth round to the Browns. And then we had 3 players get signed in undrafted free agency, which I feel like James Pierre would have been drafted in the 6th or 7th round if he had a pro day. But because of what happened with this virus, he was robbed from a pro day. So he was signed to the Steelers in undrafted free agency. And we also had Rashad Smith, the linebacker, signed to the Chicago Bears in undrafted free agency. And also Brandon Walton, who will be joining Devin Singletary on the Bills in undrafted free agency. I think, of course, all these teams got steals with the type of players they gained in undrafted free agency without having to spend a pick on them. And I hope to see them all in the coming years in the NFL because FAU has finally had players on the national spotlight with Devin Singletary, who had some good games had a good game in the playoffs with the Bills, even though they lost. And if they went further, he would have gotten even more attention. So, I mean, hopefully he gets more attention next year with a Bills team that looks like it's playoff bound. But in a recruiting standpoint, we've had Kobe Stewart, a wide receiver out of Georgia Atlanta, signed to FAU. He was originally committed to Arizona State, but has flipped to FAU, and he is a top 1,000 recruit, ranked 940 in the nation. So it's a pretty decent pickup for FAU, to be honest, because after this year they will have a very, very young receiving core because they just signed TJ Chase as a graduate transfer, Aaron Duke as a graduate transfer, and they have Yanez Rogers and DeMarcus Adams, who just transferred too. So we'll see what players will get playing time, and then we can go for there. But it seems that 2021 will be a very, very young wide receiver core. Also, we had John Rain transfer to Northwestern, which I honestly think is surprising, but he got what he wished for and decided to transfer to a Power 5 program, and he'll get a national spotlight on that team. I think he would have fit great into the tight end role at FAU. He would have been one of the more experienced receiving options for Chris Robinson, but now with him gone, I think it would be Willie Wright and John Mitchell will be the most experienced receiving options on FAU. But hopefully he succeeds at Northwestern. But also we had Miko Dotson transferred to FSU, which is absolutely a huge, 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 huge loss to the FAU secondary. He led the nation. He didn't lead. Well, he tied in the nation with 11 interceptions in 2019. So that will be a huge spot we need to replace in the secondary. I wish him nothing but the best at FSU, but FAU really needs to find their next signature corner in the secondary because we didn't live, but we led the nation in interceptions in one player, and we had the number 1 turnover ratio in the nation. So we need to find the next corner that can fill that role because that was a major, major, major part of our team. So I hope Jim Leavitt can find a player that can almost mimic Miko Dotson or play at the level as Miko Dotson so we can have someone that will intercept the ball and just be that ball hawk that he was. But also, we had a problem in the last 2 weeks with the draft going on regarding FAU social media. we had Harrison Bryant be drafted in the 4th round, which is a major, major, major event in FAU football, or just FAU athletics in general. We had a post maybe about 3 hours after that event happened, which is okay, but I would have liked it to be almost instantaneous with when the draft happened. But on Instagram, which is still a large social media platform that FAU football is followed by, we had almost a 10 hour lag of when Harrison Bryant was being drafted to a post on FAU social media, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. It should be almost instant that they recognize this player on social media, but it was almost 10 hours later they posted a post on Harrison Bryant being drafted. I mean, the average social media follower might not notice, but as someone that follows the FAU social media and FAU sports closely, I think this is just absolutely ridiculous that it takes this long to have a pre-made graphic posted on FAU social media. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Other teams, even FIU, had it almost instant on every single social media platform. So I think FAU has the problem solved. Just recently, they've been posting about their assistant coaches. They've been more active. So I think they have the problem solved, but just in general recently, I just think the draft, what they did with their social media posts was absolutely ridiculous, and we're better than that. We're a program growing in South Florida, have a growing alumni base, have a growing football program who's just won 2 conference championships of the past 3 years. We should be definitely better than this. But I hope in the future we have this problem solved, because we have a growing alumni base and we also have a rapidly growing Twitter presence, because these problems are being noticed. And I don't know if they've happened 2, 3, 4 years ago in the past, but I mean, right now they're being noticed. Not just me, but others are being very critical of how FAU has been presenting themselves on other platforms of social media, because we should be way, 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 way better than this. We're a program that's growing. We're winning. We're actually winning some meaningful games. And the social media should not be a lag like this. But I hope in the future we're able to resolve this problem, and I have faith in the athletic director. And speaking of athletic directors, there is Senior Associate Athletic Director Andy Seeley joining on the Strictly Sports FAU podcast. That should be uploaded today, the same day as this video is uploaded. He'll be discussing the future of FAU athletics. It should be a very interesting interview, and I recommend you guys check out the podcast. I'll be dropping it down in the description below. And also, I encourage you guys to follow me at FIU_is_trash and check out the r/FAU football subreddit. And I'll see you guys in the next one.